There it is. Now it's alive.
Can you guys believe that actually tonight, haunted dog Kevin, the bobblehead Clank Kane,
Clang.
he clicked the button to start this show.
Yes, I did. Isn't that special?
Everybody give him a hand. Give him 2 hands. So it's another Tuesday night. We're into our 3rd year of doing this live stream.
We are.
3rd year,
3rd year.
3 times the charm.
Kevin was actually smaller and younger when we started.
And I still look just as hot today as I did then.
Yeah, maybe not smaller, but younger. Okay. So anyway, we do this every Tuesday night from 7 to 9 p.m. Central Daylight Time. The good news is, folks, if you are in Alabama, we're not going to change our clocks anymore. We're permanently on daylight savings time.
We are.
Are we? Is that?
Governor Ivey signed the bill the other day. So you just leave your time alone. Don't bother it. And so anyway,
bringing forward.
We live stream this on Abnormal Alabama Facebook and YouTube, and then I know that these 2 guys there spread it all over the creation on top of that.
I do.
And that's probably what Kevin's doing right now, sharing.
I'm working on it.
These shows are all
quick,
and they're all archived all over the internet. You can find these shows going back to day 1 if you look hard enough. Do a hashtag Abnormal Alabama.
Hashtag Abnormal Alabama.
Bingo and jalapeno. All right. So tonight, another one of these big shows, a really big show. And Kevin's going to be talking a whole lot about ghostly images.
Yes.
And guys, I will be in and out tonight. I'm not feeling my best.
Uh-oh.
I've got a little allergy sinus thing going.
She's been doing a lot of sneezing.
Yeah, so if y'all see me duck out, I'm sorry.
Okay, be careful. Do you have any tissue? Do you have any tissue?
I do. Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah.
Well, I don't have a mirror in here.
Okay. We're very classy people here. So we're going to talk about ghostly images, and then I'm going to also talk a little bit later about the guy that really was well known for his, well, what do we call it? Spirit photography. Yeah. So, and here's a strange thing about it is we see all this stuff being posted on these Facebook pages and on the internet, and people are very critical of it. I want you to go back 100 years and see what people bought back then. You look at it and you think, really? Anybody thought that was real? Well, they did, and they paid him good money for those pictures. They paid him between $5 and $15, which 100 years ago was big money. So we're going to talk about that a little bit later too. But there are more than one case in Alabama where somebody thinks there's a. Now, you're going to talk about some Jesus figure on something.
Yeah, there's actually a couple. There's another one here in Birmingham I hadn't seen before.
Okay.
Downtown.
All right. So I'm going to let him talk about that, but I am going to raise an objection about the Jesus picture because nobody knows what Jesus looked like. Get real. Okay.
Well,
now you see those, and I tell you, they look more like Bin Laden than they do Jesus.
No, I don't.
All right. Okay. So you want to start this off, brother?
Yeah, and then get my jump. You made me lose my place with your Bin Laden crack there.
Okay.
Now.
Saddam Hussein then.
No, it wasn't so damn insane. All right. Yeah, I'm gonna tell the story on this one right up there.
And believe me, if Kevin's lips are moving, he's telling a story. There's
what
Jesus.
Is that, Catherine?
There's Jesus, and he appeared at the child center. How did he appear?
Oh, okay.
Wait a minute. How Look at that. He appeared on a piece of paper.
It looks like
How did he do that?
one of those artist renderings of a bank
How did
robber or something.
Wow, that's phenomenal. You could sell that on eBay for a couple of grand.
One of the kids did that.
Oh, okay. Well, it's
He's
a
not-
good picture then. I'm not going
Yeah.
to say
Looks just like Jesus.
it could. I don't know. It could have
Actually,
had short hair, long hair.
What they don't want to tell you is Jesus actually looked exactly like me. He had a perfect head,
He had hair.
and I can walk on water too.
I bet he had hair.
I've walked
He
on
was
water
a lot
a lot
younger.
in my life.
You know,
And-
he was
and-
only 32 when he died. He couldn't look like you.
Yeah, but see, I've lived twice as long, so I'm more powerful than he was.
Oh, okay. Before that lightning hits your head. Yeah. I'm glad we're in separate locations now, because usually I'd be doing this.
Why did your
That
lights
lightning-
go on and off? Your lights just went on and off. Did you see
No,
that?
they didn't.
They
Was
did.
My arms going up.
No, what? You may be big, but your arms ain't big.
You bald-headed monkey. Well, we ain't never going to get the story started.
I'm not a monkey. I'm an ape.
Okay.
I don't have a
So
tail.
said you. All right. Well, the first story here comes from right here in central Alabama. Right up there in good old Jasper, where my mama came from.
Oh, that Walker County. Oh,
Yeah.
man. You
the
can't
Walker.
you can't believe anything that comes from that place.
Oh, now I've seen this thing a couple of times in person.
What?
The face in the Walker Baptist Medical Center. And this is a blog post that Kelly Kazik wrote. She says, although I still haven't seen it for myself, Sweetums, whoever that is, finally went and got photos of the visage of Jesus on the hospital door in Jasper. I heard about it years ago and keep meaning to visit. It was first seen in 1983 on a door at Walker Baptist Medical Center at 3400 U.S. Highway 78 East. After numerous people came to see the image, hospital administrators moved the door to a prayer room and covered it to protect it.
So wait a
Let's
minute.
see,
Where's the picture? Where's the picture?
I'm going to show it in a minute.
You know, we
I
need
wanted to-
pictures.
I wanted to tell the story, and I'm going to share the screen in a minute.
Oh God, Kevin, jeez.
All right.
He's being
Here's
a pain.
the better version of the story here. The image of Jesus Christ has appeared on objects for centuries. The term archeropite, meaning not created by human hands, was first applied to the Shroud of Turin and the Veil of Veronica. Down through the years, the face of Jesus has also been detected in photographs, food, trees, glass, reflections, and other objects. In 1978, Maria Rubio of New Mexico was preparing to eat a burrito when she noticed the face of Jesus staring up at her.
In a burrito?
In a burrito. I wonder, was that Taco Bell? In 2003, the face of Jesus is said to have appeared in her unborn son's echogram taken when she was 30 weeks pregnant. I guess it's still the burrito lady. She interpreted the mysterious image that she'd seen in her burrito as a sign that she should not lose hope of having a baby after having several miscarriages. Okay, I'm going to skip forward to the Walker. Okay, in April 13, 1983 edition of the Daily Mountain Eagle, that's Jasper's paper, they carried a story about 16-year-old Ray Naramore, who was severely injured in a motorcycle accident. The boy was taken to what was then known as Walker Regional Medical Center, but his temperature was so low that the boy was not expected to live. After the doctors informed Ray's father, Joel, that his son's prognosis was not promising, the grief-stricken man sat in a chair outside of the room, thinking about how much he loved his son. A short while later, he happened to look up and was amazed to see the face of Jesus Christ on the door. This is on the door where his son was. All of a sudden, Joel realized that his son was going to be okay. Later that day, the boy's condition improved so much that he was transferred to Birmingham, where he made a full recovery.
Awesome.
Hazel Cooksey, a member of the Senior Services Division of the Walker Regional Med Center, recalled the public's reaction to the face on the door. The story was on the television show That's Incredible. I remember that show. And after the show aired, so many people came to see the face of Jesus that they had to put plexiglass over the door to protect it. Over 1,000 people lined up outside the hospital to see the door. One man even wanted to buy the door, but they instead moved the door to the hospital chapel. Now there's no longer a chapel there since it's become Walker Baptist Regional, so they have it in a display case in the lobby. And now I'll show that long-awaited picture. Look at me with Finding Jesus over my face. I just saw that. I heard you chuckling. All right, I'm going to share my... I'm going to share the picture here.
That's because I was messing with him about him crunching on the phone. What are you eating? Raisinets? I want some. That sounds good.
All right, here, let's get this here picture. Where is that thing at? Oh, there it is. Let's get that thing off here so we can see the... All right, here we go. Now, here's a color photo of it. I've seen this door twice in person. It's supposed to be the eyes here, the eyebrows, a nose, and lips.
All right, so see there,
And
somebody broke his nose.
and they've got it. Here we go. I like this picture. Looks better. Yeah, he does have kind of a flat nose. Now you can see the eyes and the eyebrows here, the mouth.
He's got it. It looks like his lips. He's trying to kiss somebody.
But it's mysterious that this face showed up at that exact time.
I will give you this. It looks like a face. Jesus,
it does.
That's a huge stretch. Given number one, nobody knows what Jesus looked like.
You know,
number two,
what the heck was that?
She's sucking on something.
What is that?
It's the ghost. It's the ghost that's up in here. I got more stories to tell y'all about this place. They told me today.
Have you seen the ghost of Jesus?
No.
I've not seen the ghost of Jesus. I've had visions of a shadowy man figure on a mountain that I felt it either was him or God.
It was Hosgaba.
And I wouldn't know who.
I bet you went. I bet you went. Hoo-hoo.
Nah, this could be the face of an angel. It could be anything really.
It could be Satan keeps presenting himself.
Oh, no. It's not Satan.
It says he keeps presenting himself as an angel of light.
He's a.
That's Satan right there on that door. Satan Diablo, right there.
Where is my stinking cross at? I keep forgetting to bring that cross in here to hold it up to the camera.
Yeah, because you're Satan's.
Hey,
he looks like a woodman to me.
A woodman?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, those. I would have wanted to say, well, it's probably just the grain of the door, were it not for how distinct these eyes and eyebrows look.
Yeah, somebody did that after.
How do you know that? Prove it.
Because I know the whole backstory to this.
I've seen it twice. Okay, what's the whole backstory?
My great grandmother on the fifth side of my uncle, three cousins removed. Her second to fifth cousin.
Oh Lord!
On her daughter's side, who was married to some soothsayer, admitted to somebody at that time that he took some number 2 pencils.
Are you sure it was number 2 and not number 4, number 12?
I'm pretty sure it was number 2. You get my drift.
Yeah, I get your drift. It's drifting us all the way out to sea there.
Okay. All right. So, if anybody had any questions about what Jesus looked like on a door, you know, you got that's. But remember, all I can say is that is in Walker County, Alabama. So just keep that in mind. Okay. Next.
The next one I found and looking this one up, this other one I had no idea. Now this one will make you laugh. It kind of made me laugh. I said, "This can't be."
It can't.
But I'm not laughing at the woman that thinks it is, but just the way the face looks.
I'm going to laugh at the woman.
She gonna get you.
She can have me. I want somebody to want me.
Here, I'll go ahead and share the screen on this one. Let's see. So you won't be fussing at me going, "Where's the picture? Where's the beef?" Ah, look at you putting Batman up or whatever that is up there.
I can't read it. Can you read it to me?
It's "Use creeps. Nobody loses my $50,000 and gets away with it. The sentence is death."
And your picture on a door in Walker County.
Now, this article I found on AL. Patient sees face of Jesus in wood door at Cooper Green Mercy Hospital.
I got a problem. Is this the best? Jesus turned water into wine. He raised people from the dead. He cured people. He walked on water. And now we're in the 21st century, and the best thing to do is plaster his face on a door.
And toast. And burritos.
But look at this picture. I mean, this must be Jesus in shock. I mean, look at this.
No, that's a female holding her hand up there. There's no, I don't understand.
Not her.
Are you saying, wait a minute, are you saying Jesus dressed in drag?
It looks like a frog to me.
Man. Look right here where I'm certain.
Okay, that alien on the door. That's
it looks like a frog.
That's E.T.
It does look like a frog. It does not look like. But here's what she says here in this article. The face of Jesus appears on the wooden door of room 761 at Cooper Green, says Marilyn Mincy, who was a patient there in November. I guess that's Marilyn pointing to the image there. Mincy said she was a patient from November 9 to 20th on the day she left the hospital after recovering from a kidney infection. She saw the image in the door of her room right there. On the day charged, I saw some eyes, she said, upon closer inspection of the knots and wood grain in the door. She saw Jesus, she said. It was the face of Christ. Others agreed when it was pointed out to them. She said, "I think it's a miracle," said Regina Davis, a nurse at Cooper Green. "It's very obvious," Mincy said. "The staff has been in there taking pictures of it with their cameras. It's been quite an uproar." Dr. Sandra Hewlett, Chief Executive Officer at Cooper Green, came to look at the door. "I take it as a sign," Hewlett said. "It might be telling us we're going to be all right." Mincy's revelation comes just as Cooper Green ends its inpatient and emergency room services. After 4 decades, those services will end on December 31st. Cooper Green will begin operating as an urgent care facility on January 1st. "I think the Lord wants us to know he's for that hospital," Mincy said. "I believe that hospital was inspired by the Lord." The hospital, licensed for more than 300 beds, averaged only 37.2 admitted patients this year. Closing inpatient and emergency room services will eliminate about 200 jobs and save money for Jefferson County, which declared bankruptcy last year. I don't see. And there's a close-up. Well, I don't know. You can't see it there. That's too small. So we'll keep it there. That looks like a bug-eyed frog, like Catherine was saying.
It does. And I just don't understand how the biggest county in the state filed bankruptcy.
I don't know that either.
Especially if they had Jesus backing.
I know.
But as we know from church, God is not good with money. He's always got to pay for it.
Oh.
The Lord works in mysterious ways. Give me your money.
Yes, he likes to show up on doors.
Yeah.
You know, I
found Jesus. I found Jesus. Where was he?
I
On
didn't
my
need
burrito.
I didn't need a door to find Jesus.
Your house would be worth a lot more money if Jesus appeared on your door.
Well, you know, my parents had marketed their house in Shady Grove as a haunted house. Who knows? It might have sold faster.
Zach would have come.
Yeah.
Paid you top dollar.
Well, he wasn't around. Well, I guess it was around 2006. Yeah.
So here's the thing. Is at Harbor Freight. You been to Harbor Freight?
Oh, wait, yeah.
They sell these wood burners that's actually a little flame that you can kind of burn decorations into wood. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Jesus can appear on your door for $19.95.
For $19.95. Act now, and you'll get a second one free.
I want to hear about this Cunningham lady. I'm not.
Lady.
First of all, I'm not disputing the reality of a Jesus, but I'm disputing that anybody knows what he looks like and he's going to appear on a door.
Well,
I got a problem with that.
It has to do with faith.
I've got faith. I've got faith that was not Jesus.
And that Haskamagulo, whatever that thing is.
Oh, it's Haskamahuhu.
Haskamahuhu. Let's practice it, Kevin.
And we don't say amen. We say hoo-hoo.
Let's practice it, Kevin.
So here's the thing. Is God, does he have a sex? Is God male or female?
He is neither male nor female.
There you go.
He is more a higher being. He's not human like we are. So.
There you go. So neither is Haskamahuhu.
Haskamahuhu
is a transgender guy.
Well, now wait. I heard he was ho-hoing around with Haskamahaha.
Yeah, well, God, the Christian God was ho-hoing around with Mary.
No, I'm not going to hear that. Don't be talking about my God like that.
I'm not, but he committed adultery. Come on.
How did he commit
with Mary?
He was
betrothed to Joseph. Now, wait a minute, and listen to me, Kevin. Here's the reality, and this is really that. I guess Jesus had to die for God too.
Wait. Look.
Can y'all hear me?
God did not use sex to impregnate Mary. All he had to do was boop, and it's done.
Yeah, I did that once too.
But your dirty little mind over there, man. Lord, I don't want anywhere near him on his judgment day. Because that's going to be one wild day up there. There's going to be some screaming and yelling.
Yeah, they're screaming. I hadn't even left yet, and there's already screaming and yelling.
I'm trying to figure out my microphone. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
I can hear you.
Sound like you're in an echo chamber.
But I'm sorry.
I was going to say before Mr. Dirty Head interrupted me, I was going to say.
I washed my head. Show me dirt. Show me any dirt.
It's at your mouth. Anyway.
Did you even wash your hair today?
Yes. I'm going to wash it after this show. I washed it last night. I'm going to wash it after this show.
24 freaking hours. Comes on a live stream with his dirty ass. Okay.
I'm going to shower immediately after because I ain't going to shower.
I haven't had a shower since this morning.
Oh, that don't surprise me. I know you pretty well.
I showered this morning.
Catherine's she's a country girl. It's like Saturday night yet? Is it Saturday night yet?
If I can push him out of frame there.
I know. I need one of those things that just goes. Here, you try that way and I'll try this way. Go, Kevin. Go. I'm trying to push Kevin.
Oh, thank you, Lord. I found Jesus. He was on my raising bed. I found Jesus. Look, it looks just like Jesus. Look at your face.
Now you know I'm going to have to get a bunch of Raisinets and make a picture of Jesus out of Raisinets.
I'm about to have Kevin. I'm going to have communion. I'm going to eat Jesus.
He did not pass out Raisinets at the North Supper. So I will say we had faces. We had the same face appear on multiple doors at my
Why are you stuttering?
On your house, you had some?
Yeah, the old house I grew up in.
Yeah, that was, you know why he had those there? There was so much freaking dust in that old house, he'd take his finger and draw Jesus.
Now,
No.
I've
My mama
seen
cleaned that house
faces.
good.
I've seen faces in wood grain before.
Well,
and
a pic, because I used to sit in when I was a little kid, I liked to soak in the bathtub with the bubbles. And I'd sit there and I'd count the lines on the door of that wood grain. It was always these straight lines. And we have the, creepy happenings with the footsteps in the hall, and noises in the attic, and all the talk about the Indians that used to be on that land years ago.
Yeah.
But one night I'm soaking, I look up, and instead of the normal lines, the lines have parted, and there's a space right in the middle that's kind of like a man to the side with his mouth open, screaming like. And I yelled for my parents to look at it, and they said, "Oh, that's just wood grain." I said, "That wasn't there before, or I would have seen that big as life." And then I went around the house, and it appeared on 3 other doors, and and a door of each bedroom had it.
So it was following you around. It was following you around.
I took pictures, back in the day, in late 80s, it had the Polaroid thing. So
Polaroid
thing, so you had to develop the pictures.
All right,
I took pictures, and those are lost now in 4 different moods.
So we've got to take your word for it.
Well, you know what? You can do what you want to do, but that was creepy. So there's my image story, personal encounter.
I'm gonna take, I don't know what. Look,
I showed those pictures around a lot, so I've got witnesses. So
yeah, they're probably all dead. Okay,
shut up.
Well,
they were my age. How they go?
I know people younger than you that died. Geez.
I have images that show up in spoons.
Yeah, I've seen.
I've
seen the haunted spoon. Didn't you? Was that haunted spoons hanging up there?
At that,
bridge,
the covered bridge. Yeah, the natural bridge. Yeah,
natural bridge. Yeah.
Up near Walker County.
Walker County.
I think those pictures are actually taken in Winston County though, but that's right up there.
It's real close, but maybe they're spraying some stuff in the air up there, and we're kind of getting a little
chemtrails.
Yeah.
Okay, so what about this Cunningham woman?
Okay, yeah, you're wanting to hear about the Cunningham woman.
Yeah,
let's see here.
I'm totally exhausted with Jesus.
No, those are the only 2 Jesus things I have. I've got.
The second one was not Jesus. I don't care. You couldn't imagine even
Frogger.
Close.
Frogger.
It was Jesus and Frogger. There we go.
That our Lord and Savior Frog.
Yeah, there you go. All right, so Condi Cunningham, and I'm not far from Montevallo here.
Is she related to Condoleezza Rice?
How in the world was she? No.
Well, they're both from Alabama.
So the story of Condi on the night of February 4th of 1908. Alabama Girls Industrial School student Condi Cunningham and her roommate were making hot chocolate on a chafing dish, or as we know it now, a hot plate, in their room. When the curfew signal sounded, the young ladies began to clean up their items. In their rush, the container of alcohol that worked as fuel for the burner spilled over and onto Cunningham's nightgown. Her nightgown then caught fire, which caused her to panic. In an attempt to put out the fire, her roommate threw a rug on her, but it was to no avail. 2 days later, on February 6th, Cunningham died in a hospital from her injuries. In the years following Cunningham's death, strange phenomena followed. Phenomenon. Supposedly, a face surrounded by flames appeared in the wood grain of her dorm's room door. It is said to have reappeared in a subsequent door when they changed the doors out, trying to get rid of it. It appeared again. They tried a third time to change it. Appeared again. Also, there were accounts of hearing a woman running through the halls at night or seeing a flaming apparition running in the hall and screaming in the bathrooms, which made residents of the room uncomfortable. Eventually, the door was just completely removed and the room was sealed off. The last door they had is kept in storage at the University of Montevallo Archives, but it is put on display in the library during the month of October for the spirit of Halloween. Ooh. And now I want to share this so we can get a look at that picture of the flaming face. Ooh. And that's interesting. They've changed the door out twice, and each time the face keeps coming back. She won't go away. She'll never leave. Ooh. Condi. Let's see here. And there are people, there's a, even the girl I like girl I like watching on YouTube, what's her name? Brittany44. She wants to come down. She loves the story about the door in Condi Cunningham. Now that's the door right there. Let me zoom in here. And that is supposed to be the face, kind of awkward looking face there with the eyes and nose and the mouth kind of screaming. And
who is that? Who is that face?
The flames are coming up off her head. That's supposed to be Condi, her face in the door.
All right.
It looks like a lady with the beehive.
A lady with a beehive.
You know what it looks like?
But that looks like flames up here. Look at that.
Scroll that back up. It looks like a vampire to me.
A vampire? Ooh.
Yeah, look at the hair. Look at the hair. It's got that V shape of the hair in front.
Yeah.
Yeah, that looks like a vampire.
I do see flames up here. I mean, it is. And that they do it each year, it used to.
Oh, wait a minute. Quiet. You hear that? Listen. Was that a honka burning love?
No, look at it again. Do you know who it looks like, Kevin? Jack Frost. Jack Frost. I thought that at first, but no, it looks like Jack Frost from the movie.
Yeah, that Christmas thing.
That Christmas movie, Santa Claus. The Santa Claus.
With the claymation thing. Yeah,
no, the real one.
Oh, the real one.
Oh. Tim. What's his name?
Tim Allen.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Santa Claus. Yeah.
Old Saint Nick.
But they usually each October, they have it on display in the library. But they'll do a night in October where they'll do a lecture thing where the librarian will tell the story behind this, and you can take pictures of it, pose with it, and all that good stuff. I don't see it on the calendar. Of course, last year they didn't do it because of the COVID, and probably not this year. It's not on the calendar yet. But I may go in there and take a look at that thing this October.
The pandemic?
Yeah, the pandemic. The Panda Express-demic.
The pandemic. I thought that was a pretty interesting story.
That's one of my favorite. That door, I always thought that was creepy. Now, what should I share next? Should I share? I think we've talked about this one before. Should I tell about the Buckstown?
The buck stops here?
No, not Buckstown, the Colonel Buck's tombstone.
Oh, I don't know about all that.
Yeah, well, I think you've shared this one before. Let me, but I'm still going to show. I wanted to put the picture up this time so I can read, and that's what I'm about to do here this time because I don't need to point this one. This one will look good by itself. So you give me a second. I'm a Buck's tomb here, and you can see what's on it. And you might recognize it finally.
You got all the time in the world.
Here we go. Come on now, Bucks. Where are you, Bucks, baby? Here you are. Come on, Tombstone. There you go. You recognize that?
That looks like a leg.
It looks like a leg and a foot hanging down.
That looks like a witch's leg.
There you go. You're hitting it right on the head there. Yeah. It says here, a drive along Maine's craggy coast is annoyingly picturesque, Pretty little towns and roads are clotted with leisure drivers, when all you really want is a clear path to the cursed tomb of Colonel Buck. Perhaps the curse can be blamed for the traffic problems. People in this part of Maine can pin practically anything on that damn tomb.
Anything.
This is the tomb of the town's founder, Colonel Jonathan Buck, and features a mysterious stain, the image of a woman's stocking-clad foot, or maybe a boot. The leg stain on the memorial, according to legend, came about when Colonel Buck burned a witch and her leg rolled out of the bonfire. His heirs tried to clean the foot off the stone and are said to have replaced the monument twice, but the foot keeps coming back. The curse was called down upon the colonel by the deformed son of the witch. Your tomb shall bear the mark of a witch's foot for all eternity, or something like that. Not the most horrifying of curses when you think about it. The legend of the mysterious tomb of Bucksport grew and mutated over the centuries, fully forming as a tourist attraction when locals started selling postcards and out-of-staters poured into town to see the ghostly smudge. The town, recognizing a good thing, has upgraded the cursed tomb experience in recent years. There is now a little parking area next to the cemetery and a wheelchair-friendly concrete ramp leading up to the cursed monument. You can photograph it through a wrought iron fence. Probably best not to touch it, though.
Why?
It doesn't say that. I guess use your imagination there. A witch might make you smell her foot. So
that's okay. That's okay if you got a foot fetish. Okay.
Good.
Many visitors note another stain high up on the monument in the shape of a sideways heart. This may signify that Buck had either a secret love of the witch or of women's feet.
Hey, there you go.
An accompanying plaque at the site lists some of facts about Colonel Buck, noting that he was an honorable, industrious man and that he built the first boat in Bucksport. Bucksport, that's the name of it. So what really happened anyway? No one knows, but here are some points to consider. Number one, no witches were ever put on trial in Maine. Number two, Colonel Buck was a justice of the peace, so he didn't have the authority to try and burn anyone. Number three, Colonel Buck was born in 1719, long after the last witch was killed in America.
They can't prove they killed the last witch. I know witches now.
And no witches were ever burned in America. Number four, the stain appears on a monument erected in Colonel Buck's memory 75 years after he died on March 18th, 1795. His grave is in another part of the cemetery, and his real tombstone is unblemished. Then again, if you're going to the trouble of inflicting an eternal curse, you'd want it on the Big Buck monument right up front, where everybody would know about it all these years later, and they do. So that's the Colonel Buck
foot story. So right here in Shelby County, and Catherine, we can only see the top of your head. Your dandruff was showing.
I don't have any dandruff.
It's okay. But did you know that right here in Shelby County we've got a Jesus that on the side of a barn?
Jesus on the side of a barn. Yeah. I didn't know about that just yet.
Well, there's a lot of people throughout history that have collected haunted items in Alabama, and specifically in Shelby County. And little known, and I don't know if anybody else has ever captured a picture of this other than I. It's something I stumbled into when I was over in not Chelsea, but I forget where it was. Kind of out of the country from not Westover there, but it's over
Wilsonville.
over kind of in the Wilsonville, Benson area. And I travel around, I take pictures, do videos and whatnot. And I stumbled into this. I don't know if anybody else is even aware of this, but I can tell you what, this is the most, I think, genuine likeness of Jesus you'll ever find on anything. And it was on the side of this barn. And it took me a while to find the picture, but I did find it. It's been a while back since I got it. Do y'all want to see it?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Look at you. He thinks he's so funny.
Do you see that though?
I see my face and
now, is that you?
That's my face, and that's the house in Childersburg behind me there. On a barn, yeah. On a barn.
Okay, guys, my kids are getting a little riled up, so I'm going to have to go take care of them.
Tame the evil spirits.
So, but I will catch up. I will be
here. Wait a minute. Let me do some holy water for you.
I will come back in around 8:15ish or so to 8:20 to see you guys. Okay.
8:15ish. Okay.
Yep. I'll see you in a little bit.
Kevin, I had a guy down in Florida that ordered an entire case of holy water for me. Okay. An entire case.
Okay. An entire case.
And he got it. I sent it. Hey, he wanted, he got it. And about a week later, he called me and he drank it all.
He drank it?
I did. It's like, do you drink holy water?
Now, why did he go and drink it?
I don't know. Purified system, but I just remembered that. Yeah.
Well, good night. Oh, ding dong.
Ding. Whatever turns you crank, I guess. He said it energized him, so
yeah.
But anyway, you've been going for about 45 minutes. We're talking about images like this one right there. You can faintly see a face right there. Does anybody recognize burned into wood, no less?
Oh,
you see that?
Burned into wood.
They call him Woody Kane.
That's a guy. That's a Kelsey Woody Graham engraving right there.
Engraving. Hey, you notice that at the bottom? Don't forget the wishing machine now on sale. TheWishDoctor.com, TheWishDR.com. And I think that Kevin, don't you have a book for sale or something?
I got a bunch of books for sale right there on there's that one. That's not a book. That's my picture. There we go. That's my book. That's my book. That's my book right there too.
You got a bunch of books. Go over there.
My website.
Go over there and buy a book or two or three or four.
Come on.
I mean, he puts up with me every week. Have some mercy on him, right?
Yeah.
Now, I don't know which is scarier, the one on the left or the right. Hey, look at that. He even got scared of his own reflection. And for just a short time, only one, you can get an autographed copy of Kevin Burned into Wood.
Well, I don't even have any of those.
Oh, I'm selling them.
It could be made into a neat picture, yeah.
Yeah.
Put the myhauntedolls.com thing at the bottom. And
there you go. Burned into wood.
To so-and-so, may all your wooden dreams come true.
So you got a couple of new dolls to talk about, too.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't have any ghost story with them, but I got another one of these.
But you do like to show your dolls.
Yeah. Let me turn her on here.
I thought you did. Maybe you don't.
Yes, I do. Look how cute. I like how when you tickle their feet, they laugh.
Oh, do they? I never tried that.
Yeah.
She's identical to the male except female.
Yeah, this one's a girl.
Have you set them next to each other and had them both play at the same time?
Not yet. I wanted to do that on here. So this little fella, I got to get him turned and switch to the on position here. All right. Come on there, little fella. Where's your button? There it is.
She's just moving her head around while you're holding her. Blinking her eyes. There you go. Look at that.
Yeah.
Brother and sister.
Yeah, there they go.
Well, they get all chatty, don't they? So have you named them?
No, not yet. Look at that.
The girl should be called Chatty Patty.
Chatty Patty.
See, this is
so cute.
And he never thought about those until I showed him mine a week or so ago. And 2 weeks ago, next thing you know, he's trying to. He got them.
And now Catherine's cussing me out because I got these.
But he don't have one of these, the Friday the 13th.
Well, I'm gonna have to get that just so you can hush up about that.
Look at that. You can see his mask on my face.
Is that an improvement or is that an improvement?
So what do we got next?
Well, we can't talk about ghostly images without the most famous one right here in Alabama, the face on the courthouse window. There it is.
Is that the courthouse or the jail?
That's the courthouse in Carrollton.
Okay.
Now this one it has a kind of a place in my heart because my grandmother grew up in Carrollton. That's her hometown.
Okay.
She had a whole other version of that story. The traditional version is that on, I'll go ahead and tell it here. Clear my throat here. On January 30th, 1878, as storm clouds grew and rain began to pour, Henry Wells was looking down from the garret roof of the Pickens County Courthouse at a mob bent on lynching him. In a flash, a bolt of lightning struck a tree and arched across to the courthouse where Wells was standing. His anguished features are still visible in the glass of that garret room today. The legend surrounding Henry Wells and the 1876 burning of the Pickens County Courthouse has been local folklore for years. The details remain clouded, but there are a few things we know for sure from court records and news articles that were preserved from this time period. In 1876, Pickens County's newly erected courthouse burned to the ground, just as the original structure had done 12 years earlier at the hands of Union soldiers under the command of General John Croxton as they passed through Carrollton on their way from Tuscaloosa after burning the University of Alabama. Circuit court minutes show that Henry Wells, a freed slave living in Carrollton, was accused and convicted of the act for this second burning. 2 years after the courthouse burned, Wells was apprehended in Fairfield, which is right here near Birmingham, and died soon after his arrest from gunshot wounds sustained while attempting to flee authorities. And finally, we know that for 130 years since his death, individuals looking up at the courthouse have witnessed an eerie image peering out from the structure's upper window. Even today, it remains a ghostly reminder of Wells' supposed threat and protest to his arrest, and that being he would haunt his accusers for the rest of their lives. And Catherine Tucker Wyndham wrote about this one in her 13 Alabama Ghosts and Jeffrey book. That's when I first heard about it.
Mm-hmm.
But when I read that story, it talks about he was accused for burning down the courthouse, and he was just an easy scapegoat because it was a highly racial society back then.
Mm-hmm.
After slavery had ended, there was still hatred there. But my grandmother said that my great-great-grandmother was there living and breathing when this happened. And she told my grandmother what really happened was Mr. Wells was having an affair with the daughter of one of the local townsmen, a white lady. So you've got a black man having an affair with a white lady, a freed slave having an affair with a white lady.
It's not good.
Boy, Daddy was not happy.
In Alabama?
And yep. And in turn, he was the one that came forward screaming because he saw this burning of the courthouse as an easy way to get rid of Wells. Also, I forgot, not only did they have an affair, but the daughter became pregnant by Mr. Wells. Yes.
Oh, that's lynching time.
So, yeah, Papa said, I got to find a way to do this and not, get arrested myself. And the burning of the courthouse was perfect. He set up Wells. So really, this whole thing came about because of his affair with a white woman, according to my great-great-grandmother.
It sounds Alabama-ish. Excuse me.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. It sounds like Alabama.
Sounds very believable. Now, you don't see that version written in any books anywhere. That comes
well, they try to rewrite. Keep in mind, they do try to clean history up.
But they've changed out. Let's see, they've tried to scrub that image off with oil or something, and it came back. They've changed out the window frame. It keeps coming back. And one eerie thing is that one night they had a really wild storm in Carrollton back in the 60s, I think, with a lot of hail damage. A tornado came through. Every single window pane in that courthouse was shattered and broken out except for that pane with the face in it. So that's really strange.
You battle a little bit of an allergy thing yourself, hadn't you?
Yeah, I'm getting the not crud, but the frog in the throat thing. Stupid mucus.
Mucus.
I need to take me some Mucinex.
Mucus pucus. Yeah.
That's probably one of the, if not the most, well, definitely in this country, if not the world, it's one of the most famous haunted images type stories. Right up there with the Shroud of Turin. You've got the face of the courthouse window.
Yeah. And the only issue I have, and I'm not berating Jesus. In fact, I am really defending Jesus when I say the things I do. Because I just don't see how you can take these images and all of a sudden it's like, oh, that's Jesus. It may be what you want to think. It's just an image. It could be any man. And that's the only issue I've got with it. It's like I don't argue that it looks like a face or whatever. But it's just like when they find and they've had all these statues, the Mary, Mother Mary depictions. Okay, it looks kind of like a Middle Eastern woman, but you don't know what Mary looks like. So let's be real. You be real. And I think there was a reason, and I'm going to get biblical here for a minute. I think there's a reason in the Bible that never was there a physical description of Jesus because, like you said, it all boils down to faith. Even Jesus said, walk by faith, not sight.
Yeah.
And it also said, you're always a wicked generation, always looking for a sign.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's not knocking Jesus. That's defending the teaching of the Bible. So I'm not going to argue that there's something there that looks like a face. I'm just arguing, take Jesus out of it because you don't know.
That's the same with the face and Jasper. That could be any. It's weird and miraculous. It happened at that time, but.
Well, look at that miracle. Look at that miracle right there.
Yeah, I hear tell that's when a little girl had the sneezes and that face appeared on the wall and suddenly she was cured.
You know what? That looks like somebody's snot formed that picture.
You old snot blood.
But so, yeah, I don't take away from what they're seeing and I don't take away from Jesus. I'm simply saying, you can't connect the dots. I'm sorry, you just can't. It's a puzzle. You can't. It's the pieces do not fit. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So it could be a guardian angel. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I just, It's just a leap of faith. That's a leap that I can't take. Sorry.
Yeah.
So anyway, I think that I think maybe maybe I should put Kevin on toast.
As long as there's some grape jelly or some kind of jelly.
There you go.
I like plum jelly. I like pineapple jelly. I like strawberry. I like what's that? And I just had recently blackberry. I like that.
Oh, you like jelly. That's just
Huckleberry. I think that's what I had. That was good.
Huckleberry.
Yeah.
Huckleberry Finn.
That's where he stole his name from. Was from the huckleberries.
Huckleberry. So, in the midst of all that, do you have any other interesting stories, or you run out of things to talk about?
Oh no, still got several here. And this one is probably the largest, or at least the largest creepy face picture I've seen in my life. All the way over in Galveston, Texas.
Oh, we left the state. Say goodbye, Alabama.
In Galveston, a rich city in history and local lore. One such tale involves Ewing Hall at the University of Texas Medical Branch. Legend has it that the original landowner left his coveted parcel of Galveston Island real estate to his family with one important condition: that it be kept in the family and never sold. Upon his death, his children, as they often do, promptly sold the land. That's kids for you. Years later, this building was constructed as part of the University of Texas Medical Center campus. Here's where the creep factor comes in. Inexplicably, a phantom face began to appear on the exterior side of the building. Not just talking about a window. We're talking about a whole section of wall here. And I'm about to share it here. It's hovering over the back door. Mystery man. Legend has it he is the original landowner. The one who requested his land never be sold. The one who supposedly was so distraught by his family's betrayal that he appeared on the exterior of the building and has been there ever since. And I got to show this. They got a series of pictures from back, zooming up so you can see this freaking thing from the highway. That's how big this guy is. Let me share that. I love this one. This is the biggest ghost face I've seen as far as ghosts on tombstones and windows. This guy takes the whole cake. Let me pull his big old head up here.
He didn't eat it?
All right. Now, it's right here. You can see the man's face. He doesn't look very happy. He's got that poker face thing going on.
This sounds like... We talking about Lady Gaga again?
my poker face. All right, we're going to zoom in down here. You get a little closer look at him. There's Grandpa's face. He don't look too happy. And a little bit closer. Well, let me go back.
Okay, I see it there.
Okay, I'll stay it right there then.
The one in the center right there, right?
Yeah, this one right here.
Yeah. That's pretty obvious there.
Yeah. And they swear that's his. The people that have seen his picture say that's his face up there. I wish they had his picture on here.
Oh, well.
So there he is now. I mean, think about that. A ghostly image so big you can see it from the road.
That's amazing.
Look at it versus the size of that door down there. That's a big section of wall there.
That is
He was pissed off.
Because of his face?
No, because his land got sold. So now it's big as life faces up there. That's one of my favorites because that right there, that's creep factor right there.
Oh, Lord.
Imagine having to go in and out that door every day after looking at that big old face up above you.
Well, I told you about Bobby Brown and the mansion they had and his etching on that window.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he was proud of that too.
I like the caption, "The Phantom's final resting place," or so the legend goes.
So the legend goes.
So you don't even have to be on the property. So that you can stand back behind the fence and look all you want to.
So that is that fence along the roadway?
Yeah, I believe so. I saw this on TV, and the cameraman got on the other side of the highway. You got cars zipping by, and you can see that face over there on the wall.
Yeah,
just staring out. I mean, that's a big ass ghost right there. I love it. I mean, that man, when he makes a comeback, he makes a comeback. He says, "Yeah."
Well, I want to show you when you get through there. I want to show you something else.
Okay, well, I'll go ahead. That was it with that. I'll go ahead and stop sharing. Hey, here it is. Stop sharing.
Yeah.
There we go.
You keep showing up yourself.
Oh, here comes some toast. Look at this. All I see is strawberry jam on toast. What?
That's plum.
Oh, wait, I see where you stuck my face on it. You goofy. That's me and that flute.
Yep. Oh, Lord. My God, it's just now a little after 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
I ain't got my room. I've had my air going all day, and it's still not totally cool in this room yet. It gets so hot.
Yeah, I forgot to turn the ceiling fan on. I put in a when I pick up my groceries tomorrow, I put in to have a box fan included in that thing for my bedroom. Get all the air I can get.
I tell you, I got one at the foot of my bed. Yeah. And, I can't sleep in the heat, you know. I've got to have a little bit of cool to sleep good.
I can't. I just sweat all over the place.
You're a sweating pig. No, I'm not going to call you a pig. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you mean.
I told you I wasn't going to call you a pig. I did not call you a pig.
You did not call me a pig? Okay.
No, I would not call you a pig. Oh, sorry.
Aren't you just so funny?
No, I'm not. I just got sinus problems too. Oh, Lord. So we're talking about strange images that pop up in strange places, which could be on wood or on toast. You know, you just never know where it's going to pop up.
Isn't that funny?
With all that dust on those blinds there, it could pop up on those blinds somewhere.
Yeah, maybe I could, yeah. Now look, it looks brighter on the screen than in real life here. It's dark out there. Now, why is that? That's creepy. It's a ghost light.
It's a ghost.
It only shows up on camera.
It's a ghost. Is it still daylight out there? Do I see daylight out the window?
That's what I was saying. It's getting dark out there. It looks brighter on there.
So your brother, who lives in the little, you could say, mother-in-law house out there, woke up one night with little children playing. Is that correct?
Yeah, the giggles of little children outside the cottage.
Has there been any other activity?
Not since then. Before that, he was in here at 3 o'clock in the morning using the guest bathroom. And heard a voice outside the door say, "Van." It said, "Van, is that you?" And he called back, said, "Yeah, it's me." And he got done and opened the door, and there was nobody there. And he went looking. He thought it was my dad. But my dad was sound asleep, and I was asleep. I mean, 3 o'clock in the morning, we've been in bed for hours. So
wait a minute, we got a comment over here. Oh, that was. She was just on the show.
Yeah. Good evening. Yeah, she put that up there before she left.
Oh, okay. Wake up. Is this the heat that's making us tired tonight?
Yeah, I'm gonna blame the heat. I'm gonna blame it all on the heat.
Blame it all on the heat.
I got my iced tea and my solo cup.
Oh, I'm gonna get me something to drink in a minute when you get into the next story.
I got.
You got a bunch, don't you?
Yeah, I got a handful more.
You want me to give you a break and go through this next one? To give you a break, or you want me to wait, or what?
Yeah, if you want to go ahead and go through the next one.
I need to grab a couple of photos. I had that up here. I was too busy searching out those pictures of you on wood and whatnot. Hold on.
Oh, you want me to do the next one?
Go ahead. Give me a minute to find
Okay.
these pictures I want to share.
This one is not. It's a cemetery, but it's not a tombstone. This time, it's the cemetery gate, right here. If you look in the middle of those two bars, they are bent and they have indentations in them. And there's a story with those. This is from Resurrection Cemetery in Chicago. And those marks on those bars are said to have been made by Resurrection Mary herself. Now, have you ever heard of Resurrection Mary in Chicago?
Yes, I have.
The original famous ghostly hitchhiker who has been seen hitchhiking on the road.
Isn't that amazing that a hitchhiker would be hitchhiking? That is really...
According to legend, let's see, I got a better story. Get my screen back up here. I want to give the better story of Resurrection Mary here. All right. Since the 1930s, several men driving along Archer Avenue between Willowbrook Ballroom and Resurrection Cemetery have reported picking up a young female hitchhiker. This young woman is dressed somewhat formally in a white party dress and is said to have light blonde hair and blue eyes. There are other reports that she wears a thin shawl, dancing shoes, carries a small clutch purse, and possibly that she is very quiet. When the driver nears the Resurrection Cemetery, the young woman will ask to be let out, whereupon she disappears into the cemetery. And there are at least, according to Chicago Tribune, there are at least 36 substantiated reports of Mary from the 1930s to present. The story goes that Mary had spent the evening dancing with a boyfriend at the O. Henry Ballroom. At some point, they got into an argument and Mary stormed off. She left the ballroom and started walking up Archer Avenue. She had not gotten very far when she was struck and killed by a hit-and-run driver who fled the scene, leaving Mary to die. Her parents found her and were grief-stricken at the sight of her body. They buried her in Resurrection Cemetery, wearing a beautiful white dancing dress and matching dancing shoes. The hit-and-run driver was never found. She has reportedly burned her handprints into the wrought iron fence around the cemetery. Story goes that in 1977, a passerby saw a woman locked inside the fence of the cemetery after dark. Rather than stopping, he called the police, who came to let her out. When the police arrived, she was nowhere to be seen, but they discovered the two bars of the main gate where she had been spotted had been bent outwards, and the bars bore the imprint of human hands. Officials quickly removed the bars, but, embarrassed, later reinstalled them, using a blowtorch to obscure the handprints. The two burned areas can still be seen, and so can those handprints squeezed into the bars, as you see there in the picture. The driver said he had seen her right there with her hands on the bars peering out. It's believed her ghost left those indentations of those fingers. But you can see they're bent, and the dummy policeman blowtorch. I mean, what's blowtorching going to do? It's not going to make it go away. It just highlights it, if anything. Now you can't miss it. I mean,
we're gonna make it happen.
I love Resurrection. I love all the stories I've heard, and
I love
Unsolved Mysteries. Did a fantastic episode. Robert Stack.
Oh, I like Robert.
And they did a good reenactment of some of those with a creepy looking Resurrection Mary figure. That was scary, especially being a kid at the time. That spooked me out.
You were a kid?
Yes, I was a kid.
Oh, okay.
So did you get your your pictures up there?
Yeah, just a second, and I'm printing something out too. But we're gonna talk. We're gonna talk about that guy right there, William Mulmer.
That guy right where?
Right, you see his name right under me, William Mulmer.
Oh, there he is. I was looking for a picture.
I'm going to do some pictures as I go along here, but I'm trying to print this out. My printer is really moving slow here. Here we go. So I want to be able to do this appropriately. Now we're going back to when the Victorian age, when everybody was getting into spiritualism and that sort of thing. And photography was a new thing. And I'm going to be flashing a few pictures across here as I go. William Mulmer was the world's first known spirit photographer. He had actually, if you know P.T. Barnum, he'd actually captured, and I don't have that picture of P.T. Barnum, posed next to a ghost of an exceptionally notable variety, that of a recently assassinated Abraham Lincoln. During Mulmer's 1869 hearing for fraud, he got charged with fraud. Barnum actually testified against him. But the interesting thing about it, Mulmer was the first of many advantage, and I want to flash some more pictures across here. You can see this, what people are paying for. Spirit photographers. Photo manipulation was good business. While he was ultimately selling nostalgia and comfort, what he was technically selling were portraits of clients posed alongside the spirits of the deceased loved ones. He sold those for about $5 to $10 a piece, which was, of course, in 1869, that was big money. Soon as one history sums up, he grew wealthy, making these pictures like you see here and selling them. You see that? Yeah. I gotta say, back in those days, you gotta admit, he's pretty good for that stuff, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was.
You know, but he made a business out of it, and there's a lot of pictures. Look at that one. This lady has got her spirit arm around this guy. You see that bottom right picture, and some of them are pretty amazing. Some of them are not so amazing. You know, that's kind of nothing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That one gets a little bit better. That one's pretty good. He was able to have this guy stand behind her with his hands actually on her shoulders there. Can you imagine back then doing that and selling them for $5 to $10 a piece?
Yeah. I've seen those.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen those, some of those pictures before in books I've read about spirit photography and
this is different than what you had said earlier about the pictures that we find of the ectoplasm coming out of the seances. This is different. He wasn't claiming to communicate with a spirit. He was claiming just to be able to get your photo with a spirit. So he didn't do the ectoplasm, not that I'm aware of anyway. I don't find anything like that. This is all I find under his name, is this kind of work right here. So, but that's it. I mean, that would be something, I don't know if anybody, I've seen it. People actually have that done today. I've seen. They will find a picture of the deceased loved one and then pose the living person in a fashion to be able to, you know, like you popping up on the wood and on a jelly sandwich. But it works better. It'd be easier to do nowadays because you use that chrome cone green screen effect. And you can really manipulate pictures pretty easily. I put Bigfoot and all kind of stuff. I had Bigfoot running across the woods behind my house here. And so it's easy to manipulate stuff. But this guy made a career out of it. And people paid big money back then for these pictures right there.
Yeah.
It gave them comfort, you know. And as long as they knew that this is not really a spirit, I guess you're okay. Some of them I find kind of exceptional, and others not so exceptional. Exceptional. that's okay, but I find this one not impressive at all. What do you think?
Let's see. Yeah, that one. It's kind of nice. Looks like she's about to take his hand into hers.
Mm-hmm.
You just can't see it good. That one I like because you can see it good. That one's just something out of a nightmare right there.
Kind of looks fake, don't it?
Yeah, I'd seen that before. Some of them they've done with multiple faces around, and
Mm-hmm.
I like those with the arms around like that. I've seen.
Yeah, and there's a few there. Showed up in Harper's Weekly, so big business it was for him. I like that one. The one on the far bottom, far right, I think is a good picture. I like that one. You like that one?
Yeah.
She's got her hand actually on his chest. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that one on the far right. It's really clear.
The one above that is close, but not as good.
Yeah.
It's just very interesting. But anyway, I just want to throw that in the mix. It's not exactly what we're talking about, but wait a minute, I missed one.
Oh, you missed one.
What do you think about that one?
Yeah, that's freaking creepy right there. He's proposing to a ghost.
It looks like she's already in a wedding gown.
Yeah.
Anyway, if you want to do some research about him, his name is William Mulmer, and you can see his name is in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen there, and there's just all kind of pictures. Wasn't even going to try to take the time to download all the pictures I found, but there's a ton of pictures of his work on the internet. So if you're into that, the Victorian age was also a period when photography was just coming and people were actually posing with pictures of the actual bodies of their recently deceased loved ones. I think most of us are aware of that.
Yeah.
But you go here, I mean, there's just tons of pictures here. Oh, I got to show you this one. This one's really strange. I don't know what this is. But I like looking at these old pictures.
Yeah.
You got to look at this one. Get your opinion on it. Tell me what is going on here. Please enlighten me. Let me find where I did this. Picture on my computer. Where did you go?
Where did you go?
Picture on my computer. Where did you go? Okay, it's not there. Dang, what happened to it? What happened to? Oh, wait a minute. I can find it. No. What? Oh, here it is. I was looking right at it.
Yeah.
You put a couple of things up there too, didn't you? Okay, here we go.
Put a couple of
Look at that. Look at that. Tell me what's going on here.
Mama's got a face covered up there. I have no idea what's going on here.
Oh man!
Either Mama is shy, or maybe she's dead. And they cover her.
That's what I was thinking about. Maybe Mama's dead. I don't know. But her face is like, maybe her face was so much that they couldn't make it up. I don't know. Maybe she's dead. And it does not even look at it. Doesn't even show her hands at all. Her hands are even hid.
Yeah.
I don't think the baby's dead. I don't know, but that is strange the way they got her covered up there. Like, kind of makes you think that she is not among the living.
Or she's just ugly.
Ugly. Don't want to scare that baby. Okay. All right. I'm going to back out of here. That covers William, and Kevin, I think, has already lined up some more interesting stuff to share. Get rid of William Mulmer there. Mumler. Okay. What you got for us there, Kevin?
Share this one back to Alabama here, one of the famous Alabama.
Home Alabama.
You don't hear as much today. It kind of died out. This is one of those that Catherine Tucker Wyndham told about. There was a big stir about it in the 60s when it first appeared. And this is Robert Musgrove's tombstone up in Fayette County at Musgrove Chapel Cemetery.
Mm-hmm.
Now there's the tombstone, the part of it that has this white ghostly image on it. And the story behind this is Robert Musgrove, he was a young lad born back in the late 1800s. His family founded the Musgrove Methodist Chapel there. And the cemetery is filled with a lot of their family, including the founding church members, his mom and dad. Robert, like a lot of boys back then, had aspirations of working on the railroad because they didn't have cars, and railroad was a big industry back then. And getting on into 1900, when he was a young man, probably early 20s, or maybe late teens, he took a job on the railroad, and he would ride the tracks from Fayette to Columbus, Mississippi, and back, taking shipments back and forth. And he became an engineer. He was a really handsome guy. When he was in town, he would attend church faithfully with his family at the Musgrove Chapel Cemetery there, or Musgrove Chapel Methodist Church. But unfortunately, around I think it was 1991, he was in a train crash. His train collided with another on the tracks on the way to Columbus, Mississippi. And his body was brought back to Musgrove Chapel, where they had a funeral and they had a service. Well, after the service, when the service was ending and the family and friends and everybody was kind of moving away, there was a few people left around the grave there, and they already had this fabulous big monument tombstone erected for Robert. And this mysterious young woman who was around Robert's age at that time came walking up out of the crowd there. She had on a mourning dress, and she was sobbing, and she went to his grave and knelt down right there next to the tombstone there and clasped her hands in prayer and said a little silent prayer. And everybody's looking at her going, who is this girl? They're asking each other, who is this girl? And one of the people said, maybe Robert had a sweetheart. That could be his sweetheart. And she stopped praying, but before she stood up, they heard her say, Robert, I'll never leave you. And then she stood up and left. Well, from then after, the family would come to the grave to tend to it. They would always find it swept off and fresh flowers on the grave. And this went on for years. They never had to tend to his grave because somebody kept showing up, sweeping it off and placing fresh flowers on it. And they thought perhaps it was this mystery woman. Well, around 1960 or before 1960, maybe the late 50s, the grave sort of stopped getting tended to. And people kind of murmured amongst each other. And they said, well, if it was the sweetheart, it's been a long time. She's probably passed on now. And that's why she no longer comes to tend to it. Around 1960, on one Sunday afternoon, they were coming out of service, and one of the people looked over at Robert's tombstone and saw this strange white image that was not there before. It was like it showed up overnight. And it looks like a woman knelt down there with her hands clasped in prayer. And I did a little thing around here.
A little thing.
Where you can see it looks like a woman from the side knelt down with her hands clasped up there in prayer, with her hair piled high. And the old folks there that were young back when Robert died say it looked just like the woman they saw kneel down in exactly that position there in front of the tombstone and said the prayer and said, Robert, I'll never leave you. And they said, well, she kept her promise even in death. There she is. Well, the remaining family members, his younger siblings, I believe, got upset because word got out that this ghost was on Robert's tombstone. So people from miles and counties away, even from Mississippi and Georgia and Tennessee, started flocking to the cemetery to see the ghostly woman on the tombstone. And the grave was getting trampled on as people were showing up and taking pictures, and family got pissed off. They said, we got to get rid of this. They sent the tombstone to right here to Birmingham, to the stone mason, right here in Birmingham, Alabama. And he scrubbed off that stain and got the marker back to the way it looked, and he sent it back. All the family was happy. They put it back on the grave. A couple of weeks went by, and they're coming out of church service, and what do you know? There she is, back on the tombstone. Well, they sent it right back to Birmingham to Mr. Stonemason and said, scrub that off. Well, he scrubbed it back off and got the tombstone back to the way it was and sent it back, put it back on the grave. Another couple of weeks went by, and guess what? She came back.
She's back.
Robert, I'll never leave you. So they left it alone. They said, we can't get rid of it. So for years, and now the story's kind of died away. You don't really hear about it much anymore. But it's still there. If you go today to the Musgrove Chapel Methodist, what's it called? Musgrove Methodist Church, or Musgrove Chapel Methodist Church. That's what it is. And the cemetery is there. In fact, I pulled it up on Google, and you can see it there on Google Street View. Can't really see the tombstone, but you can see the cemetery there. And you can go today and see that tomb there. The chapel's still open. They still have church services.
Now, what graveyard is that again?
It's the Musgrove Chapel Graveyard
Musgrove.
in Fayette County, Alabama. You can find when you get in Fayette County on I-22 that goes up through Jasper on the way to Memphis, there's a turnoff somewhere there, and it'll take you out there, but it's winding country roads. It takes about 35 minutes from the highway to get there.
Mm-hmm. Have you been there?
And I've not been there. I keep saying I want to go out there, and I've yet to go.
How far away are we?
From here, gosh, from here it would take me an hour and a half just to get to Jasper. So it's going to be 2 hours, and it might be 2.5 hours. Somewhere around in there. So I don't know. I mean, I worry. I want to go see it so bad, but because it's still an open church, I just wonder if they get PO'd if somebody's tromping around the cemetery taking pictures of a tombstone. Some deacon might come out and run me off because it is private property. And that is out in the woods there. Them woods folks, they mean business.
Is that Winston County or is it?
It's Fayette County.
Oh, Fayette. You said Fayette County. Yeah. We have to take a drive up there sometime. And we need to go to the border and look at that little grave of that little house.
That's the first. That's toward Georgia. That's the first place I want to go.
Okay, let's go. What are you waiting on?
Yeah. What are we waiting on? I don't know. I'm gonna be off some days in July. It'll be hot, but hell, I don't care. I'll put a fan on and I'll go out there. Or go one Saturday. Now, this takes at least, 2 hours to get there from here?
Where, Fayette?
No, to that graveyard near Georgia where that dollhouse is.
I'm not sure exactly, but 2.5 hours. On the other side of Auburn, isn't it? Isn't it closer to the border?
Yeah, it is. But yeah, I definitely want to go out there and see that.
Yeah, that's one of them. That would be, we need to do that.
Yeah.
Need to do that. Do a live stream, make a video.
Yeah. That would be good.
Yummy, yummy, yummy. Okay, so there's 2 places we need to line up for trips.
Yeah.
Friday, I'm taking a day trip, a long day trip. There is a case. We're kind of changing subjects. Do you have some more stories you want to share, or are we just talking?
There's another story or two here. There's a couple of stories I got here.
Okay. This month in May, a very horrific thing. I like cemeteries. I guess you know that.
Yeah.
And You do too, don't you?
Yeah, I like them.
So there is, let me find where I had these. I've got too many pages opened up on my computer doing research. So this little guy, 5-week-old baby boy in Montgomery, disappeared. And his father and his mother got on TV and were begging for anybody to help. His father was 32-year-old Caleb Michael Wisnan. Anyway, he's now charged with capital murder. It's horrible. I mean, and it happened just south of us. And this little baby beat him in the head and then took him somewhere in the woods and buried him. 5 weeks old. Anyway, the community got together, and the cemetery down there donated. The Catholic Church donated a grave for this baby. So I wanted to tell that story, and I wanted to visit that baby's grave, just kind of to give honor. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, I understand that.
So that's one thing I want to do. Plus, as you know, I think I have a fascination with bonobos and orangutans and gorillas. And the Atlanta Zoo has all 3 of those apes, and I want to go visit and do a video of that too. So I was just going to kind of make a long day trip of it, probably Friday.
Okay. Well, I got a story here from Mississippi.
That's close.
That involves a window, and I've seen this baby up close and in person. Now this is in Columbus, Mississippi, and they have some beautiful historical antebellum mansions out there. Some of them Victorian mansions. And there's even an old Italianate mansion out there. They had a lot of rich people back then lived in that area that had plantations. And one of these big sprawling mansions was Arrowton. And it was the home of the Weaver, or of the, was it the Weaver family? Yeah, William B. Weaver.
What county? This is in Mississippi.
Yeah, Columbus, Mississippi.
Okay, interesting. And a side note, but my name is William Kelsey Graham.
Uh-huh.
I was named for my dad's old business partner, Kelsey Weaver.
Okay.
So that's why I'm sorry. You know, when you said that, but he lived up in the Shoals area, which is not far from Columbus, Mississippi. I don't think, is it?
Yeah. I don't know.
What part of Mississippi? Go ahead with your story. I'll look that up.
Mississippi is, I mean, you can get there. You can go I-20 to Mississippi, but you got to go northwest, and it's up in the north. Well, if you're looking at a map of the state of Mississippi, it's up in the northeast part of Mississippi.
Okay, so that would be near the Shoals area, Florence, Tuscumbia,
yeah,
and all in that area. Yeah,
kind of up there. Maybe a little bit lower than that. Maybe between there and Meridian.
Kind of on the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, Waverly.
So William B. Weaver's only daughter, Nelly Weaver, grew up to be an outgoing, talented woman who lived with her parents and family in Weaver Place, which would later be called Arrowton. Though Nelly had many suitors, she fell in love with a fireman named Charles Tucker and married him in 1878 before her father died in December 1878. After her wedding, William Weaver died December 21st the same year at the age of 60 and was buried in Friendship Cemetery, Columbus. Nelly inherited Weaver Place, and her mother, Ellen, lived there until she died around the turn of the century. At first, Nelly and Charles lived in marital bliss, enjoying their lives together. She was so blissfully happy that she carved her name, Nelly, on the window glass of the south parlor. After a few years had gone by, and I want to add that when she did that, she used her wedding ring, the diamond on it, to etch her name into the glass. So it was etched in there. After a few years had gone by, Nelly and Charles had a new daughter, Ellen, which was named after Nelly's mother. Unfortunately, after the birth of Ellen, Charles became unhappy and left Nelly and his daughter, Ellen, disappearing. Instead of going through a divorce, men would just disappear and start a new life back then, perhaps even with a new family. Nelly was not about to sell the beloved forever family home that she loved so much. So to support herself and her daughter, Nelly started a small private school and became a teacher. This endeavor brought in some money to live on, but not really enough to maintain this huge, massive structure. Because of a lack of money, this once grand mansion slowly slipped into disrepair. Apparently, her brothers weren't even able to help monetarily, but they probably did the repairs that they could handle. Eventually, Nelly's daughter, Ellen, married a nice young man and moved out. After her mother died, Nelly lived there happily by herself until she was 80, until she died on June 13th, 1935, in an unfortunate accident. Nelly received fatal burns when her dress caught fire from sparks coming from the fireplace in her rear parlor. The Weaverly place stood empty of residents for 15 years. Luckily, the mansion was well built and had excellent bones. The mansion was rescued from its state of repair when, in 1950, Mr. and Mrs. Douglas Bateman fell in love with the property and bought the Arlton Mansion, despite knowing that the property was an expensive fixer-upper opportunity. So, long story short, they went into a process of restoring the mansion back to its lovely splendor. Unfortunately, of course, when they came in, they noticed that the window with Nelly's name was still etched in the pane there. It was still there. But unfortunately, during the renovation, one of the workers passing through there with a ladder took a corner too sharp, and the end of the ladder hit the glass where Nelly's name was etched, and it shattered into a million pieces. So Mrs. Bateman was distraught over that. She knew that was Nelly's signature, and it could not be replaced because Nelly was dead now. But they said, life moves on, and the house itself is a reminder of Nelly. So they put in some fresh window panes there. After the restoration, several months went by, and Miss Bateman was going through the parlor, opening the curtain windows one morning. And she got to that window and opened up the curtains, and there on the new glass pane, etched in the glass, was the name Nelly in the exact same signature that was on the original pane. And I'm going to share my screen to look at this because I want to zoom into the picture. I could only find one picture online that even shows a signature, and you can still barely see it, but let's see here. Let me get the picture up here first. All right, I'm going to share my screen here. There we go. All righty. This picture right here is of the most recent owner. She likes to dress up during spring pilgrimage, and they don't do it every year, but some years they open up Arlton on the spring pilgrimage where you can tour it. And back in 2004, I was lucky enough to get to tour it on that pilgrimage in Columbus. I went out there, and because I'd heard about a couple of haunted houses in Arlton, I'd read about it in Catherine Tucker Wyndham's 13 Mississippi Ghosts. And they showed us the window, and I tried to take a picture of it, but this is before smartphones. I had a little digital camera, and it looked screwy, so I never could get a good picture of it. But here, you see where my cursor is pointing. This is where the signature is on the window of Nelly. And I'm going to zoom in. You still can't really see it very good, but right here you see an N And it's supposed to be E-L-L-I, and then there's an E curving out here. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit more on it. Right there's at least you can see the end. It's got a unique signature etched in the glass there. But the trees outside the window, you can't really see the signature very well. When I tried to take my picture, it didn't come out very good either. But I bet now if I went back and used my smartphone, I'd probably get a pretty damn good picture.
Yeah, I'm wondering if you got a different angle in the glass.
Yeah.
And if it was a little bit darker outside.
Yeah. But that was very unexplained. It was a fresh pane of glass, and there's that name etched. And they say, Miss Bateman says she believed, until her death, she said she believed that was Nelly's ghost letting her know that she was happy with the renovations. And they've even smelt Nelly's perfume in the house, and they've seen a wispy, really quick apparition of a woman, usually on the stairs, and she disappears, a second later. And they say, that's Nelly. She's still here enjoying her old home. But she's very friendly, very quiet, doesn't bother anybody.
Unlike you.
And and one night they even had Vincent Price, the Batemans were friends of Vincent Price, the actor.
Oh, yeah.
And he came out there and visited them and spent the night in that house. And he claimed to have felt the presence of Nelly.
The presence of Nelly.
When he was there, he said, this house definitely has a spirit.
I feel the presence of Kevin. The presence.
And I got another story here that I first heard when I was a mere child. Oh, and I've got the one about the witch's footprints, but we don't. If we have time, I can share that one. The one I really want to share is the SS Watertown. Have you heard of that one? I
have. I don't remember the story.
And I'm gonna get the picture up here so we can. You can oogle it while I'm telling the story. I have a book that I've had since I was a kid, a big Time Life book called Mysteries of the Unexplained. And that's when I first read this story, and it had a big copy of this picture inside the book and told the story that I'm about to read here.
The story. And where did this take place?
Well, I'm about to read it. It was over, I want to say, off the coast of California, but I'm going to read it in just a minute. And let me find where it's saved on my computer here. Oh, it's on desktop. Here we go. Come on now. Where are you? There you are. Here it comes. The faces of the SS Watertown. There they are with the arrows pointing to them. Now, that's not on the boat. That's actually out in the waves of the ocean. And let me read the story here. At the end of 1924, an oil tanker called the SS Watertown sailed from California toward the Panama Canal en route to New Orleans and New York. Although the crew didn't know it, the tanker's name would end up being linked to one of the most curious and spooky seafaring legends since the Marie Celeste. The voyage was all going as expected until two of the crew, James Courtney and Michael Mann, were ordered to go and clean a cargo tank down in the ship's hold. Somehow, fumes overcame both men, and they died before help could reach them. Their deaths were ruled accidental. On the 4th of December, the Watertown's Captain Keith Tracy ordered the two dead men to be buried at sea, their bodies being consigned to the deep after the appropriate service was held. But that was not the last the crew would see of the pair, for the very next day, the entire ship was thrown into an uproar when the first mate reported seeing Courtney's and Meehan's face in the waters off the port side of the ship. Reportedly, the two apparitions could be seen for about 10 seconds, wordlessly bobbing about in the Pacific's choppy waters before dissipating into nothingness. Similar reports from other crew members continued over the following days and were said to be consistent and corroborated. It seems as though Courtney and Mann couldn't leave the Watertown be. When the ship arrived in New Orleans, the company that owned it, City Service, listened to the captain's curious tale and suggested that he try to photograph the faces. When the Watertown left to continue its journey, the faces of Courtney and Meehan reappeared as they had done previously. Either Tracy or another crew member managed to take 6 photographs of the spooky visions. The camera and film were then locked away in the ship's safe. Tracy handed the unprocessed film to the company's New York office, who had it developed. Nothing untoward showed up on 5 of the exposures, but the 6th would become one of the most reprinted ghost photographs in the world, for it seemed to have captured the eerie, sunken features of 2 men in the water, remarkably clear and recognized by many who knew the men in life as Courtney and Meehan. When the ship's haunting story and photograph was first published in the City Service Company magazine called Service, much of the original details were brought to a wider audience by the investigation of paranormal enthusiast Heward Carrington. But by the time Carrington did his research on the case in 1934, the already sketchy story was getting on to being a decade old. Then in 1963, writer and researcher Michael Mann decided to dig a little deeper in an article for Fate magazine. It's thanks to him and his visit to Citigo's headquarters that we have the famous or infamous photo in print today. He also found out the latitude and longitude of the place where the photograph was taken during the voyage, although this detail is currently unavailable. According to Mann, the photograph was checked for fraud by the Burns Detective Agency and given a clean bill of health. So even a detective agency says this is the real deal. I guess what you're looking at is the side, the bottom of the photo, I guess, is the side of the ship with those ropes coming up. And out there in the waves, the water, you see those 2 faces where the arrows are pointing.
Now where exactly, what is those faces on?
It's on the water. It's on the waves out there. And they saw the faces floating in the water.
And they're saying, in all actuality, that you can still see those faces.
Now, it's not saying that people have seen it today.
Okay.
It seems like it only happened during that voyage of that particular ship that the men had been working on. It's almost like their ghosts stayed with the ship to make sure it safely got to where it was going. And then on the way back, they could see the faces again. But after that, there have been no other reports.
Okay. So that was kind of like a one-time event.
Yeah.
But somebody was smart enough to get actual picture, right?
Yeah, and there it is. Good old classic photo of ghosts.
Yeah. But I mean, those are more, to me, realistic looking faces than anything we saw on those doors.
Oh yeah, this is out in the water too. So it's, that's pretty uncanny. But I like that story. And now it's 8:48. We might just have enough time for me to tell about the witch's feet. The witch's footprints.
The witches.
The witch's footprints.
Witches. So, do you believe in witches? Define a witch.
I've always defined it as somebody who practices black magic and casts spells on people.
Okay. So
but there's also good witches.
Okay, so that's what I was about to ask. So because I think that's, people paint a negative picture, but you've worked with a lot of people that don't share your beliefs, right?
Yeah, I've met some people who are
But
big time into witchcraft.
Yeah, and I mean, there's strange people of every faith. I mean, you got to admit, there's even some very strange Christians out there, right?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, I mean, I hate to bring it up, but I'm talking to one of them.
I'm not strange.
Silly man. Oh, right. I thought you were going to tell another story. What are you yabbing about?
Well, you're the one that yabbing and interrupting. Okay, yeah. So
10 minutes. Get it done.
Okay, I'll get her done.
Get her done.
All right. And now here we are. This is all the way over in the great country of England. The strange grave at Woodplumpton Cemetery, which the date, let's see, the strange grave at Woodplumpton dates into, or isn't linked to the case of the Pendle witches. And what are the Pendle witches? Let me go back. I must have missed something here. Okay, let me start at the beginning. When one mentions Lancashire and witches in the same sentence, the first thing that comes to mind is the tragic tale of the Pendle witches, one of the most famous cases from the hysterical witch hunts of the 17th century. Yeah, it's Pendle. 10 people, mostly members of 2 feuding families who lived close to Pendle Hill in East Lancashire, were executed in 1612 after being accused of witchcraft and marched many miles over Lancashire's hills to go on trial at Lancaster Castle. The testimony of a 9-year-old girl named Jeanette Device, a relative of many of the accused, helped to send the Pendle witches to the gallows. And through the widespread coverage of the case, the legend of the Pendle witches was born. The strange grave at Woodplumpton isn't linked to the case of the Pendle witches. It dates from almost a century later, by which time much of the history around witch hunts had died down, although belief in witches and witchcraft could still be found. This grave, in particular, is said to be occupied by Meg Shelton, who died in 1705. I'm going to share my screen here because I want you to see these pictures. There's multiple pictures. I don't want to have to download and put them all.
You ain't got that stuff done yet.
Look, ding dong, here it comes.
Ding dong. I hadn't been called ding dong in a long time.
Now, look at all these beautiful, amazing, massive tombstones.
I like old.
Going down there.
I like old cemetery graveyards, yeah.
There's one that's not quite so ornamented. That's right here. This is the grave of Meg.
Now, if you watched in my recent videos, I did a video at the Selma Cemetery. You familiar with Selma Cemetery in Shelby County?
Yeah.
And it's got a rock similar to that, except it looks, if you watch the video, it looks kind of handmade. That looks natural.
Yeah.
And then that Jones Bailey Cemetery, I just did a video on a couple of days ago too. The guy had 2 wives. One of them died, then he married. Had both of his wives married next to each other. In fact, the second wife outlived him. He was buried there too, and she had herself buried next to his other wife. But the first wife was encased in concrete, kind of. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They did some interesting things, but I personally like seeing that. To me, the modern graves are boring.
Yeah. But here's the story as to why she's got a simple rock instead of all these beautiful tombs out here. Perhaps Meg was the sort of person who practiced the black arts, or perhaps she used old-fashioned herbal remedies for innocent reasons, but others viewed this as suspicious. Perhaps she was just a nasty piece of work, or maybe she was a criminal, the kind of person who today would be served with an ASBO, antisocial behavior order. Perhaps she...
like me.
Perhaps she was disliked by an influential member of the local community who was able to turn others against her, or perhaps she was just ill, suffering from a condition like schizophrenia or dementia, conditions which can cause sufferers to behave in ways that are frightening or confusing.
Right.
But I'm going to skim through a lot of this. Basically what happened was, we'll read it right here. If the stories about Meg are true, the manner of her burial is far from usual. It is said that after her death, she dug her way out of her grave on more than one occasion, which led to her being buried head first and with a boulder on top of the grave to prevent any further escapes. The tale of Meg digging herself out of her grave seems fantastical, although it's not entirely out of the question that people may have attempted to disturb or exhume her grave, actions which could have fueled stories about Meg's escape. But then it gets into other stories, but I wanted to mainly stay on this one. Let me find the good photo of that rock right here. Now, it's not mentioned in this article, but one of the beliefs is this white spot on top. They don't have a good picture. I wish it was a close-up, but supposedly people believe, because these shapes appear on top of the rock, which could just be, erosion or something simple like that. But they say it looks like two big shoe prints with the heel back here and the shoe going up here. And then here's the other shoe. And superstition says that Meg's ghost came back to claim her innocence by standing on that rock. And people even saw her ghost standing on that rock for a long amount of time until she finally disappeared and left behind these two footprints. And to this day, you can still see them. So,
is that a pink rose in front of the rock?
Yeah, somebody put a little pink rose there. So people still visit her grave. A lot of people feel sorry. They think that she was unjustly accused, and they don't believe the story of her trying to come back from the dead and dig her way out. But a lot of people there in that area of England believe the ghost tale and think that these are her footprints up on top of the rock where her ghost once stood to claim her innocence. Now, I think it could just be something natural up there. I mean, you can make whatever you want to out of it. Look, it's two big clouds up there. But I mean, that's an interesting story, and that does kind of look like a heel back here. I mean, that I can see where it's coming from, or where they might think these are shoe prints. So back then, their shoes were more boot-like. They had those.
Oh yeah, little ankle boot type thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. So that's an interesting story about the witch's footprints. All right, let me stop sharing my screen.
Interesting. We're down to 3 minutes here. You want to promote a book or anything, and nobody knows anything about your books,
Yeah. I was going to say, England's got a lot of awesome ghost stories. I've been wanting to go out there and check it out.
England?
But, yeah, especially Wales. That's where my people are from Wales.
Okay. Well, I belong to a group. There's a lot of British people in that group. Ireland, Scotland, all through there. There's so much, and there's so much ancient history that they know about. There's a lot of ancient history on our continent, but we don't know as much about it as they do.
Yeah.
Theirs goes way back.
Here's my website again, myhauntedDolls.com. Where you can find all my books.
HisHauntedDolls.com. No,
myhauntedDolls.com.
And he's written 13 books. He claims he's working on a 14th one, but
I worked on a few more pages today. So
okay. And he's gotten about 3 new dolls lately, I think, in the last couple of weeks.
And I probably have close to 400 dolls in total, I guess. I don't know. There's at least almost 400 items, including paintings and haunted paintings like the crying boy there. And other things. I've got
You froze.
From Phoenix, Arizona. I got all kinds of stuff.
He has, not just dolls. He's got other haunted items too. So
Yes,
one day, maybe he will have his own the Kevin Kane Museum.
Yeah, have a little haunted dolls museum. MyHauntedDolls.com, haunted doll museum. Put a sign on the door.
Charge for admission.
I think they've got some businesses down here, so I don't think I would get hit with a zoning thing like the
you could do
the Warren Occult Museum did.
Well, what you need to do is you need to put it on by invitation only and by appointment only.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, the advantage you got compared to the Warrens is you've got a lot of land. Where the Warrens was like in a community, houses were closer together, smaller lots.
That was the problem there.
And we have less codes in rural Alabama.
Yeah.
You can get by with a lot more around here, unless you get jealous neighbors. But if I were you and I'd do something like that, I would do it by appointment only, by invitation.
That's what I had. Yeah, I don't want people just showing up. I want to know when they're going to be here.
Is your brother still looking for a place to live?
Yeah, he's still trying to figure something out there. Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. Of course, you got more than one way to put something out there, don't you? I started saying if he moved out of that house, you could turn that into your museum.
Yeah, I could do that. It's climate controlled. It's got air and heat in there.
Background music. Have EVPs playing all through
it. Yeah. But that poor soul, I don't know if he's ever. He's on disability and.
Yeah, I know he's got a lot of issues to deal with.
He's got things against him that prevent him from we're trying to get him back on HUD. He had some legal problems a few years back that took him off of it.
Yeah, and then being related to you, that's a crutch.
Anyway, if he's there with Kelsey Graham, that just screws everything up.
Yeah. It's a heck of a deal. Just a heck of a deal. Yeah. Well, I wish him the best. I know you're going to take care of him regardless whether he is able to move or not. But could move the camper out there and let you use it for your museum.
Oh, look at you.
Yeah. Then when I want to get it from home, I go out there and sleep in it once in a while.
I don't mind just bringing people in here. There's a separate door here. Put the sign on there.
Oh yeah. Well, I wouldn't even put a sign. I would just do it very private. I wouldn't have, and just be by appointment only.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't want people driving up in my drive unexpectedly.
Yeah.
That's my opinion. But anyway, we're 2 minutes over time and we're talking this stuff.
Yeah.
So what are we going to talk about next week? Any ideas?
Not yet. This one was the last minute kind of thing.
Well, I think it went good. Except I think I think the heat kind of beat us up. We're both tired. But anybody listening and watching, please, if you got something you'd like us to talk about, if you got some suggestions, hit us up. Kevin and I, either one, it doesn't matter. Give us some suggestions and ideas. The same. I travel around and I do a lot of little videos and whatnot. If you got a place you'd like me to go, besides hell, tell me. Tell me. And I get told to go to hell enough, so I don't need that. But yeah, we want to entertain you guys. And Kevin and I have been doing this into our third year. This year's flying by. This is June already coming up. Half the year is gone. And last year seemed to kind of drag on. But bottom line is, give us ideas. If there's we haven't heard of everything. You might have something that you're aware of that we don't know about. And we'd like to know about it. I would. I don't know about Kevin. So.
I would.
Kevin thinks he knows it all.
You think you know it all.
Any man that has his face on bread and jelly,
Mr. Kelsey, I got a degree, Graham.
I got a degree of insanity. I have people ask me throughout my life, Kevin. They'll say, "All that studying you did, what did you learn?" You want to know what I learned? Honestly,
what'd you learn?
I learned that we don't know much.
Yeah.
The more you dig, the more questions you've got. We don't know much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We're still fishing and fishing and fishing. We've got data, but we don't have much understanding at all.
Yep.
So there's my serious response when somebody asks me that question. I know a few words still in Latin: obiter dictum, ratio descendendi.
That's a mouthful.
Yeah. I did an entire wedding in Russian. Здравствуйте, как вы поживаете? Он работает. So,
La cucaracha.
yeah, that's
Dormez-vous.
Spanish.
Frere Jacques, dormez-vous.
Frere Jacques, dormez-vous. Yeah, up your nose. All right, folks. We went 5 minutes over time.
Yeah.
Are we going to get fired?
I'll let we fire ourselves.
Yeah. Well, I've enjoyed doing this. I don't think I'm going to go anywhere yet. So we'll be back next week. Share your ideas with us. We'll come up with some fascinating, and we try to talk about Alabama as much as possible, but there's a lot of interesting things in the world that we want to talk about. I think we really need to dig into UFOs a lot more and alien abductions more.
Okay.
Ooh.
UFOs. Maybe next week will be UFO abductions.
If anybody has ever been abducted, let us know.
Yeah.
All right. Let's say goodbye, folks.
Goodbye.